Good morning, everybody. 23rd. Today is just looking at these option quotes. What is? Yeah, it's a third Friday. There's an expiration. Uh, 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 I hate the way they do that in TC 2000. They mix them all up. Second. So a little bit increase in accidents yesterday, which was anticipated that it was coming. Unfortunately, we don't know the day that it's going to come. But you see, you've got semiconductors got hit pretty hard. I mean, it's still in an uptrend. They stopped on the rising 20, so nothing that bad. But you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days up there. We got another bearish island reversal. You don't see it so much here, but there was one, I guess, last week. So now, gap up, sideways for 5 days, gap down, and lower. So at this point, just looking at this chart, wouldn't matter what it is. Major support is down here. And the question is, does it violate that? Does it come down further? Things are up a little bit here, actually gapping up in the middle of that red bar. So it typically happens after a down day like this, that there's some reprieve and it moves back up. So we'll see where this goes from here. But I wanted to start with this because the majority of the damage was done in tech stocks. Okay. That one, not quite as bearish, kind of relatively normal, I would say, on how this is coming in. So a couple of things that we talked about this week. The move up, creating the void, which you can see over there, and we'll look at other charts and you'll see it. So when you have a run like that, sometimes you look at, well, is it an exhaustion of the move? And this has been running up for a while. It could be. We're not sure yet. We look at the internals, and last week we got a heads up, to be careful. His S&P 500 still looks okay. Got my alert down there on that congestion to see whether it goes below those bars. But here, what I'm showing you, we don't look at this. We usually look at this one. This is the equity put call ratio. And look how far up that is above that other upper band. So sentiment is pretty extreme, too bullish, which makes it bearish. So just another piece of information, supporting the idea of long risk is increasing. So there you have it. Just wanted to show that this morning. This didn't change too much. But with this one, you see where I got my pointer on breadth here, right at this lower high. And look at where you can see on XLK where the line is right at the top. So comparing the breadth to, prices had moved up over here. It was a bit of a bearish divergence. There wasn't as much power on the move up. And you can see it there on the S&P 500. Another piece of information, under the hood, things were weakening as they went up here. This doesn't look that bad, right? Yesterday we talked about staying in the upper half, and kind of did. It came down. You got the slowing momentum candle, and we'll see how much more it comes down. It's actually gapping up to the high of the red candle. Impressive. So pretty good. We'll see if it can hold on to that gain. Looking at the 15-minute chart, the one in the middle at the bottom, gapping up into that pivot high there, and look at how it went up into these pivots, and that's where it rolled back down again yesterday. Now that it's gapping up there, suggests to me a trading range day. It would be surprising, based on this gap up, if prices were to fall below yesterday's low. And just think about an outside red day like that. That would be a weird pattern. So I'm thinking the upside is probably limited, and the downside is probably limited, just based on the size of the gap in the S&P 500. Kind of get stuck in between the ranges there, and very interested to see if it can go a bit higher above yesterday's close and move up toward that high. And of course, where does it close? It would be very interesting. Okay? If it gapped up and it held the gap and pushed up, and can you imagine if it made a new high on the day? Getting closer to this 460. I mean, what that pattern would be like if it held on to it, as opposed to looking at the semiconductor stocks getting pounded down like that. And as we look at the Qs, it's a pretty large red bar breaking down below those pivots. And where is that at? Gapping into the middle of it around 380. Oh, decent gap, but certainly not like the S&P 500. I'd be curious, when Dan's speaking, I'll look at exactly what is gapping up. What's gapping up within the S&P 500? See that. Costco, Costco and CRWD. CRWD got pounded yesterday. UHS CME is moving up. Okay. Excuse me. All right. Futures inside day, not doing anything up at resistance. S&Ps trading inside of yesterday's range, up in resistance. Qs, right in lower 50% of the red bar. At the top there. We'll see where this ends up so far. And we'll just throw that up there. Those highs, and see if it holds on to the gain and what's going to happen here today. There's no economic news coming, so there's nothing there. And whatever earnings were coming should be out already. All right. Let me just grab some of this. Second. Have you seen TLT forming a base on the weekly? Let's take a look at that. That would be a sloppy base, but I guess it's going sideways. You got all these bars, bottoming tails, green bar didn't follow through. Which way is it going to go? Where is it here? It's just in the middle of nothing here. So, people start buying bonds here. I think if it was to dip down there, be a higher probability. So, does it make a higher low? And you see, I got my alert here at the top of the that consolidation. Interest rates. This is what we look at most days, and we saw it was coming down to support. Anticipated it would pop up again. Not really that big of a deal. You can see that more of a trading range there on the, well, that's a monthly chart. So it's tightened up, but that's not going anywhere. It's at the top of the range. And let's see, it came down. We'll see where, if this follows through one way or another next week. Right now, no big deal. So SPX, I'm looking at these things I got here. I don't know if Jake wrote anything. 45.10. I got 45.15 and exactly the same thing, 45.95. But if you can get below, anything you can get below, now this is going to gap up here. So the upside, I don't think it's going up there. So again, these things have been relatively tight, and nothing got touched yesterday. These were the numbers from yesterday. Nothing even got close. So 45.95, which is decently above that inside day, and 4,500. Let me see. 500. Not expiring today. 4,600 is expiring today, but that's never, it's not, I don't think it's ever going to get there. Open interest expiring today up above 4,600, 4,400, 4,500's got almost 25,000, 4,550. Those are expiring today. So those optimists at 4,600, I guess it was possible, but it doesn't look probable today. I don't know what would keep driving it there. But so, of course, we'll see how things unfold. Let me look at the transports. They look great. So while tech, well, the momentum is stalled. It's still in an uptrend. It was able to get above this pivot high by a reasonable amount where it could pull back. It's not quite at that pivot high on the weekly yet. And so while tech might be what is going to start dragging things down if they, continue to get weak, things like the transports have room, to fall for a few days and not violate the uptrend. So, that's the positive side of whatever corrective price action is going to happen and going into next week. And we got the, the Fed day. So you wonder how much of an effect that's going to have, because, it's kind of like a given. They're going to raise a quarter of a point. And, after that, the big thing is going to be what he says afterwards, meaning, is he, the Fed chair, is he satisfied with, okay, we do this quarter point and we're just going to sit back here for a couple of months and see what unfolds, and so we'll just have to see. Bitcoin doing nothing, oil pretty much doing nothing, gold down a little bit maybe, and silver's down a little bit. I suspect, yep, the dollars is moving up a little bit. So, and from a higher time frame, it's just kind of seesawing here. Next week should be interesting. More earnings reports, Fed news and what he might say, and maybe get some, price action that starts moving around. And you can see how the range narrowed on the weekly chart, looking at the S&Ps as it got closer to that resistance. But, week before this one was a wide range bar, power bar up. And now things are stalled. They're consolidating the gain, and we'll see what news comes that gets things moving next week. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Happy 0 DTE day. I don't have any alarms going off, so all our opens are fine. So we start with earnings like always. Let's see, JB here on YouTube. We can see what he has going on. Costco and Crowd look like interesting shorts. I don't know about that. You're shorting strength and there's no reversal. At a bare minimum on a swing trade, remember? The first reference is a prior bar's low. So this is a beast. Daily, weekly, monthly. When you were fighting kids in high school, did you fight the biggest guy or the weakest one? We only have one open short we put on yesterday, and it's Alta. Compare Costco to Alta. And so, the charts, not, they're not competitors. But look, breakout failure, bearish 1, 2, 3, 4. It's under the 200, under the 50, sell setup weekly. So no, don't like Costco short. Crowd, there's no pattern or price void, and it's gapping up with a intraday void. So sorry, JB, not crazy about those. I want a short weakness or something crazy extended. All right, you got this on your long list. And triple M. Problem is that's at the top of the range, but I love the weekly W bottom. Look at that. That's a W there. Myrna, yeah, I gotta go quicker here, JP. I'm gonna be using up all my time here. Nothing there. No, we don't long fast. We don't long anything apart from the 20, with no continuation. Disney long, that's a sell setup. JB, I highly, and I don't mean this in disrespect, come spend $7 and come into our trading room for a week and we can spend more time on these. I just gotta get through some other stuff here. Highest, so these are earnings, high band. I saw a note that Alex was messing around with this. Gapping up a little bit on earnings, no pattern for me. I guess, I say it over and over again, with the internals cooked, I don't like buying things far from the 20. Kind of a simple rule. AXP would have been a nice bullish daily, weekly, monthly continuation had it opened flat. But now it's down, gapping yesterday's low, still in the trading range. We'll come back to you. Alpha November, kind of an M top with new low plus, Climo weekly. So I'd rather short this JB 30-minute low. Now this one, I'm still fighting a strong uptrend. Agreed. But at least I have a better pattern, provided it takes out the 30-minute low. Not doing it at the open, because it could open up wherever and rip in your face on earnings. SKT, no pattern. I'm going to delete you. Let's slob down a little bit. That could be a 0 DTE call spread if there's any juice. A ROP. That's what we call a bull rectangle consolidation. It was a 1, 2, 3 on the weekly. So that's gapping up. We'll watch that on the pullback. This is kind of like high band gapping up, and it's far from the 20, no interest. IPG is a bear 1, 2, 3. Oh, Sam. Remember, Sam, you were talking about wanting to sell the 35s on this? And I said, not me, not me. I hope you didn't do it. That's gapping to the below the 200 here. Well, there's no pattern. We'll come back to it. Stavros, Roblex. Carryover short from yesterday, gapping up, possible sell setup. Well, it's down a lot. So that's leaving a price void on the 15-minute chart. If you're still short, I would give a stop you know, 5, 10, 15-minute high. I don't know for sure. But I'm not crazy about re-shorting it. Raul KR. There you go. There's a buy setup. I love the range expansion bottoming tail. Yeah, I like carb. That's going on the list. Yeah, I got Riven in my list over here somewhere. This is another bull rectangle after blast off. Oh, I didn't see it moving like this pre-market, but yeah, this was on my list from yesterday. And Alex mentioned XPEV, a little similar, you know, bull rectangle, bullish weekly. So I set an alarm, Alex, 1510. Correct. That's why I put it on the list. Jose Dow. It's, you know, not a great pattern, but it's still bullish. Daily, weekly, monthly. So it depends what time frame you're trading. This, it's up 3 bars, not an ideal entry. SIG, that would be a good put spread candidate. It's not, it's up 4 bars at resistance. It's not a good long. A-Rock, that one's better. Even though it's the same, you know, you can't, whenever I say it's up 3 bars, you got to put that in a context. So this was a downside shakeout, 90% retracement, bullish price action, closing breakout, a 1, 2, 3, a 1, 2, 3 triggering closing breakout daily, weekly. So this one's much better. But do you understand? You know, I didn't like your Dow Fist SIG, but this one is better. So that goes on the list. All right, back to earnings here. Where did I leave off? IPG, yeah. ALV, gapping up. Now this could be a 30-minute low gap and crack, just because it's gapping up far from the 20 or 0 DTE call spread. I'm sure I see my blotter here shows up 340, but I don't see any prints. So if I don't see a liquid chart, I don't trust the gap. CSX railroad. Wow, that's an ugly gap. Gapping under the 50 here. We'll come back to it. 145, that's an ugly gap, but I don't know what to do with it. I need more information. KNX, a trucker. Just a big friggin' mess. I just don't bother myself with overlapping bars like that. ASB, 19 bucks. It's far from the 20. It's not my wheelhouse. And cough. So you can see it's now range bound here on the 15-minute chart. But it's bullish weekly, monthly. We'll come back. Far from the 20. MCB, far from the 20 at the 200. EFG extended. WRB. This was my only naked put into earnings trade yesterday. They had weird strikes. So I sold the 59.50s down here. And so that, you know, I'll just bid a nickel to be done with it, even though on 0 DTE, sometimes I just let it expire at full profit. That's a big old gap. Look at that. Wow. I sold them for 50 cents, so I only have a nickel more to make. ISRG. Breakout failure. Bear 1, 2, 3. That's gapping down 336. Call spread idea. DWAC. This is old Trump's company. I saw some news that you know, they settled a SEC investigation, plus something about if they merge with somebody, but no pattern. Siri, I posted, and this is a wide range ending bar far from the 20. And now you're gapping into it. So if this cannot, 30-minute, or I think I said 15-minute low. I have I'm gonna put it here, Siri. We're gonna sell the 0 DTE $8 calls. That's called a bear gap surprise. GNRC, I was trying to sell puts on this little pullback here, and I never got filled. It was still bullish price action. Look at this grab I posted. My alarm just went off. You all don't see my alarms even on this computer, but it popped up in the bottom right. So I call this a sloppy buy setup. It's a retracement from a 4-bar turn, which is not ideal, but it is a buy setup on support in the 20. And the weekly is a sloppy 1, 2, 3. But look at the monthly. Big old bottoming pattern. So I gave that half lot yesterday's high. That Alpha November 30-minute low. I'm also going to sell a 0 DTE call spread if there's any juice. H Hotel. This was in last weekend's letter to sell puts, and we also didn't get filled, but that's still bullish daily, weekly, monthly. GFAI, something happened with this thing yesterday. It came out of a coma on volume. Now it's gapping up here. See how it sets up. ODD, I saw go by the ticker. Looks like it can IPO on Wednesday. Keep an eye on that. Man, look at that. Wow, look at his tail. It's on the daily chart because there's not much data. That's why this bar is so friggin' big. Wow. XPO, that's one Alex mentioned, their car and rock. All right. All right, Ulta, we're short. Intuit, we have a 490 covered call as a core long. We've been in since this igniting bar. So I'll be keeping an eye on that to roll our calls to next week. I see a little breakout failure, Qs and spiders pre-market here. So I'm going to be in no hurry to get into anything. We did a half lot on APD yesterday. We can do the other half lot over yesterday's high. Jerry says he's at McDonald's having one of their little egg burritos and wants to know, is this a daily buy setup? It's not, well, the term buy setup to look at Alpha November here, falling middle chart. The term buy setup to us is a specific defined term of it's a retracement and reversal and support in an uptrend. So this is not a buy setup, but if you're just asking me, is it a bullish chart? Then the answer is yes. And just because it's bullish, does that mean I buy it? Well, what does your trading plan say about buying it? We have a checklist, right? Which is, what's the pattern? What's multiple time frames, relative strength? What are the broader markets doing? And then we decide if we're going to hit the buy button or not. I think it would be an excellent put spread candidate under yesterday's low. But for a directional right here, it's, at this major resistance. It's not a great directional for me, but it's a great put spread. All right, so that I will look. Sam, Yum alarm, that was on your list. All right, so just eyeballing yesterday's low, right? 294. So then I go to the option table. Fangs are still weak here, you all. I see Cisco up. That was on my long watch yesterday. Costco up. All right. So 294. And I can tell you, Jerry, without even looking, that it has to have earnings next week because the premiums are massive. You know, you could go